My name's Laura Jane Rawlings, and back in 2012 I founded the Youth Unemployment Campaign. It's a campaign that's about supporting the youth unemployment issues and the underemployment issues for young people.
We were talking about partnership and how important it is for organisations to work in a spirit of collaboration and togetherness for the benefit of the young people.
Okay.
Do you want to expand upon that?
Yeah, sure. Part of the reason for youth unemployment, I've got to start again, sorry. Part of the reason for starting Youth Employment UK was that I recognised very early on that there were so many good organisations working to support young people, be that employers, training providers, different government initiatives. And what there seemed to be a real lack of was joined up thinking. And after the cuts to the Careers Education Service, I felt that it was going to be even harder for young people to engage with those individual organisations because there's so much white noise around the youth unemployment sector. If you're a 16 to 24 and you were to type in careers advice into Google, you'd come up with over 6.5 million different resources. So trying then to determine, if you haven't had some support, which of those resources you're best to navigate with, which of those pathways is going to be most relevant to you in your location, is something that I felt young people are going to really struggle with, and actually has been proven. It's one of the reasons why young people are struggling to connect with the opportunities that are there, is because trying to find and navigate through all of those opportunities is just too difficult. So the idea of Youth Employment UK is not about recreating what anybody else is doing, but about signposting. So to encourage young people to come to a place that is tailored for them, to support them into finding their next pathway, re-engaging with education, whilst also supporting them with case studies of other young people and the experiences of organisations who are trying to recruit. So helping them understand their role in making themselves more employable and engaging with that audience of who's out there and who can help them.
Okay, fantastic.
We're working hard on growth.
How do you see things evolving for the sector?
I'm really still quite concerned about the future of youth unemployment in the UK. I think there are some amazing initiatives, but I think that our employers, UK employers, need to do more. Currently there are only about 1 in 4 employers working with young people, and be that in the education system or employing them post-education. And according to the UK CES, 1 in 4 employers working with young people isn't enough. It's not enough for the needs that we've already got, never mind those young people that are still coming through education and not gaining access to work experience, not gaining access to inspirational employers to help them find the pathway that they want. So for me, we've got to create a more youth-friendly UK, which is the other side of our organisation. We support young people, but we also campaign with businesses, with training providers, and try and encourage more UK employers to become more youth-friendly. It's about preparing the future skills of their future workforce. So employers, in my mind, should be heavily invested in that area.
Okay, so we've got the Minister of Skills arriving today at 3:15. He's going to be speaking. Matthew Hancock, what would be your message to him?
For me, I think what this government needs to do is really take heed of what the employment sector is saying with regards to education and preparing students for the world of work. When we had careers education as a statutory duty with our schools, and when they had to take their students on work experience placements, we still had really high levels of youth unemployment. Youth unemployment's been growing since 2005, so it's not particularly the recession, and it wasn't, around the education reforms that were needed. It's been a long-term problem that we've got. What youth employment needs is businesses to become more youth-friendly, and by creating barriers or by not supporting students in the education system to be ready for the world of work, we're just putting another layer on to make it more difficult for employers to invest in our young people.
Is there anything else you want to say? A message to employers?
Yeah, I think what I'd like to see is employers being encouraged to do one youth-friendly thing. I think if we can create a culture in the UK of employers taking a small responsibility around talking in a school, doing one careers talk once a year, through to the great initiatives of Barclays who are taking on 10,000 apprenticeships. If we can just encourage anything along that ladder, and there are so many different things employers can do, they don't have to be time consuming, they don't have to be cost heavy, but actually just one thing will inspire one young person. It will support one person to make a really solid career pathway decision. So I would really encourage employers to not be put off by taking on young people or working in schools, and actually adopt that as part of their own culture.
Okay, so on that note, in terms of looking at it as an investment, because maybe some employers will be put off by the fact that it's a lot of time to be, invested. How would you say that it should be considered as an investment?
Okay. And there are really many reasons why businesses should become more youth friendly. One, it can support the future workforce and also consumers. If you're selling a product, these young people that are coming through now are going to be your future consumer market. So having a good reputation amongst them now and being a youth friendly organisation will support that. But also consider your future workforce. There are already sectors that are recognising that in 5-10 years' time they're going to have a real skill shortage, because there has been this big gap in not working with young people, in not providing apprenticeships or internal training. So they're starting to realise that they're going to have some issues in the coming years around skills. So it's about investing in your future consumers, and it's about investing in your future employees. So for businesses, it shouldn't be about the red tape and it being somebody else's issue. It should be all of our issue. We all want to work in a UK economy that's vibrant and with young people that are engaged and contributing. So all of us should do as much or as little as we can, but something.
Okay, so what advice would you give to a company that's considering it but didn't know what step to take?
For organisations, there are many different routes that they can take, and at the end of this month we'll be launching a menu that gives businesses an idea of what they can do that starts to make them more youth friendly, right from how to do a careers talk in a school all the way through to taking on apprenticeships, interns, and working with young people and creating that culture of working with young people. Because there's also about, when you do recruit young people, how is your own company culture embracing them and developing them internally to make them those future managers that your organisation is going to need. So we're supporting organisations with all of that information that's going to be sort of ready made available, with signposting then, who can you go to access talking in schools, who can you go to have some really good internal practices and policies around youth recruitment. We'll be providing that information as part of our campaign to get the UK to be more youth friendly.
Fantastic, thank you.
Okay, I hope some of that